One hand of the snake is Russia, one hand of the snake is the West. A beautiful place.
Thank you.
There's a lot of craft in here. I'm gonna show you something up here. The biggest danger in Ukraine. It's like my wife. When I saw her on the street once, all right guys, today's video is about Kyiv, the most mixed up city in Europe. And so what we're gonna do is, well, hopefully I don't crash this thing. It's sort of hard to film and ride, but what we're gonna do is cruise around and I'll bring you to some of my favorite places and well, you can feel it for yourself, the contrasts that exist in this very cool city. All right, before we get started, I gotta get a little snack. Really like this store. It's a small health food store. And also I forgot to mention in this video, we're gonna go to all these places. And I've lived here roughly almost 4 years. So I wanna talk about what I've seen, what I've learned, and just basically outside observations of living in Kyiv, Ukraine. Татьяна.
Да, как ваши дела?
Это наркота. Достаточно.
Это точно?
Все, хорошо.
Но вы придете ко мне сегодня еще 29.
Very sweet, nice people here in this shop. They do it well. So what I've found to be true in this city is businesses are either done really well, like this one, great customer service, good product, or just horribly terrible customer service. You're like a criminal walking in a store, like you've done something wrong, but you're only there to purchase something. So it really works in the extremes in that regard. Okay, let's go to the first destination. Coming up here on Landscape Alley. And this is a great place just to walk, relax, not crash on these bolt things. This is what I'm riding. And look at that beautiful mural of the snake. One hand of the snake is Russia, one hand of the snake is the West. And I don't know what character that is, but sword in the middle. Everyone, let go of me. That's what that means. Here we go, an old building. They're making something new out of that. They're taking some of the old, reinforcing it, and putting a new structure up there. So you have a lot of this in Kyiv, a lot of little pathways, walkways. You got these things now. These just came in last month. So a lot of changes in my short time here. A lot of these businesses in Kyiv just, well, there's a bookstore out of a little truck, coffee shops, all sorts of things. This was just built, this infrastructure here. This area they've really made a lot nicer. And I don't want to give too much credit to the city because while these are great improvements, the big things like air quality is something the city has completely neglected 100%. But this stuff does show on the surface. It does make the city nicer for sure. That's a new stairway, roughly a year ago. This is the old city. This is where I like the best. I think this is the most charming, has the most feel to it, the most texture. And now we're looking out here to Lisa Gora, which is Witch's Mountain, out there where those people are. A lot of pagan rituals out there. I've heard satanic rituals too. All sorts of shit happening. And then out across the river, that's the left bank. Whole other side of the city we're not gonna go to today. I think they're the most beautiful types of churches. This is a Baroque style. When I first came here, about the first year I'd say, I was just every time, wow, unbelievable. Now somewhat used to them, but they're still definitely stand out as this iconic architecture. What I love is the collection of old and new here. So that place we just went by, you couldn't see inside, but it's a nice, modern, cool restaurant called Kasadka. Good food. And then some stuff's falling apart, then some stuff's new, and then you have stuff like this, which has not changed since I moved here roughly 4 years ago. Let's check out this very cool haunted looking building up here. Where is it? Vacant, old. There are probably some homeless people living in there, and it's not like it's the only one. They're all over the place. So you have that architecture, and then you have brand new modern architecture, and they can be right next to each other. Not in this part of the city, but in other parts. I feel this place is very creative in its businesses. So Ukrainians are willing to try new things that are not, let's say, in their culture. And so here we have a restaurant called Zigzag, and I love the design in here. It's got a great vibe. A lot of people out dining on the street. I don't know if the mask rule is on or not. Doesn't look like it. So you have very nice interior spaces here. Look at these windowsills. Very cool style. And so when I compare to other parts of Europe, when I compare to other parts of Europe, for example, Italy, just got back from Italy, and I was in the city of Trieste, which is 300,000. I couldn't find anything like that. And I find a lot of European countries, Western European countries, not everywhere, but a lot, they have their traditions in the way they do things, right? So the Italians, you know, we have Italian food, it's the best food. We've always done it this way. We're always gonna do it this way. And why would you change up that recipe? Where in Ukraine, people are willing to experiment more, willing to try new things. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, you know, nobody wants to go back to Soviet times. Like, they don't want to go back in their history, let's say their recent history. They want to move forward. And where I feel like countries, I'm being very overgeneralistic here, but countries like France or Italy, you know, they have something they really hold on to deeply, and they want to stick to that and are less willing to experiment, try and fail. Another example of that is I was just in Budapest, Hungary, and it's part of the EU. Hungary's wealthier than Ukraine, but way less of that, way less of these new interior spaces, more of a hold on to the past. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just an observation here. I'm gonna show you something up here that's the biggest danger in Ukraine. I'm serious, this is definitely the biggest danger. In Kyiv, for sure. I wanna show you this building here. Not the most beautiful looking building, right? But check it out, you're gonna see something different up here. It's like a ship. Very beautiful example of constructivism. Beauty's in that eye of the beholder for sure, but I love that thing. All right, here's the most dangerous thing you'll encounter in the city, most likely. Check it out. These balconies, you can see how they're flaking apart. Well, all over the city, see that one? See the brick behind it? All over the city, you'll see ropes coming out and marking people off of where not to walk, because that stuff falls down. I've seen it happen, I've heard it happen, and that's just a matter of luck. So instead of fixing the old buildings, they put up these fences, and this basically catches anything that falls from above. Pieces of stone, someone's laundry, other various things. So watch where you walk and watch where you step too. I never had a fear of stepping on a culvert because, you know, the round lid can't fall in. Wrong. The whole structure around it might be decayed, and that the whole thing will go down. Above, below, in the Soviet elevators. Biggest dangers in Kyiv. It's a great example of Kyiv contrast. You have these old balconies, and then this new Thai restaurant with an excellent outdoor seating scene. Beautiful. And here's an example of freedom here. I'm going down a one-way road the wrong way. I'm on a scooter. I wouldn't do this at home. Society wouldn't be okay with it, let's say. Here, nobody cares about that stuff, right? As long as you're not in the way, there are really no rules in that respect. So here we go. Here's a place that I love. We have this new, relatively new Vietnamese restaurant. Great place. A velo track. Like, when's the last time a velo track was built in this world? Someone correct me if I'm wrong here. I used to ride these things as a kid. So I love velo tracks. And this one I believe was completed right when I moved here 4 years ago. And then behind, you have these apartment towers. You can see this one is incomplete. I don't think really anyone's living in this one, and the story I heard was that the developer built most of the way and then bounced out of town. And so you hear of that a lot, where people are putting a deposit on apartment buildings that have not been completed. They'll get a cheaper sale price if they do so, and the developer bounces, goes to Western Europe with his kids, calls it a day. There's a lot of that corruption, unfortunately, which is very savage. One of the pros here is the tightness, the connectivity, and the culture. Now, strangers to strangers, it's more of a distant place. I think America is much more open to saying hi to someone you don't know, or befriending someone to a point with very little background together. But here's more about, you know, the family going out to the park, you know, long-standing friends meeting up. So you definitely, even though I'm not from here, I feel that vibe, and it's very attractive. It's very cool. Falling apart, but cool design. Okay, let's step into this park here. This is one of the nicest parks in the city, Shevchenko Park. And you'll see in a second these very cool chairs they have set up. This is a Saturday, but it is like this. There we go. I love that setup. This is a Saturday, but it is like this most days, most nice days. Okay, one of the things I do love and both hate about the culture is, well, I love the fact that there is this, you know, no creepy weirdos around, just normal people having a nice time together, relaxing. But sometimes when you're trying to get things done and be a little more efficient in life, well, this can be a bit annoying. For example, being on time, moving beyond theory into action sometimes is slow. I'm not saying all the time. There's some people doing some amazing things here, but in general, if I'm going to compare the cultures between the US and Ukraine, US is more efficient, more go, go, go. Ukraine has more of this. So depending on your lifestyle and what you like, if you want to accomplish a lot of things, a little harder here. If you want to enjoy time with your friends, being out, not rushing around, you feel how there's like zero anxiety in this mix. It seems quite relaxed. Well, it is. A lot of new towers going up in the city like this. I don't know who's moving in all these new places. I don't have direct evidence, but people have told me, you know, a lot of city officials make money off bribes and this and that. And so you're putting a lot of towers up in an old city with old infrastructure, and people are having water problems. They're having electrical problems, sewer problems, all this sort of stuff. And that's what happens when you don't have any rules, or the rules are just for the, you know, the government officials and the mafiosa types, which is the case. All right, I want to show you one other example of what I'm talking about, of architecture. Look at this collection. You have this old, it's like early 20th century building. You have this new guy. Then you have this Stalinka, you know, from Stalinist times. You have this new one behind. The tower we just went by, all on top of each other. People just park on the sidewalks. This is quite common. Usually the nicer the car, the more of an ass someone is, meaning they'll put it like closer to the stairs, more in the way. This is a place called Lift 99 co-working space, and I was here last year. I was here for a few months. There are a lot of these co-working spaces now in Kyiv. Do you work here? Do you work here at Lift 99?
Kind of.
He's my boyfriend.
Oh, you guys run this place. Cool. Thank you. So here we have Lift 99, and this is a co-working space, a very beautiful co-working space. They did an excellent job with design. So what's up with the pandemic? Is nobody coming here or what?
It's Saturday.
Oh, it's Saturday too.
It's like 90 people per day here.
90 per day? Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah. Well, an example I want to make, maybe you can relate to this. In Ukraine, many times the outside is different than the inside, right? So outside in the streets, sometimes things might be broken or, you know, something off, but you go in some of these spaces and they're amazing, right? You would never know.
That it's here?
That it's here,
Just
yeah.
like that?
Yeah. It's like my wife. When I saw her on the street once, she looked so serious and stoic. Almost
Is she
scary.
Ukrainian?
She's Ukrainian. And I'm like, whoa. And then oh, well, that's Natalia, that's my wife. And so she is the warmest, most loving, coolest person. But sometimes she puts on this, like, you know, out in public, this image.
Yeah.
So I think it's a metaphor for oftentimes the people and the building spaces. Not always, but there's a lot inside here. There's a lot of beauty inside once doors open up, once people open up. Really one of the strong points of this culture. A lot of people here don't like this stuff because it's a reminder of the past, but it's a ship. You see that at the top? Looks like a big, the top of a big tanker. I get it, Soviet architecture is not for everyone, but check out this building behind me. It's such a cool, ahead of its time design. Здравствуйте. Что?
Все хорошо.
Очень красиво, да?
Да, классно.
Да, нравится?
Да, а вам?
Я люблю. Я люблю. USA.
From USA?
Да.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's yeah. Since I came here, I'd say the level of English on the streets has increased by 50% with the young people, at least. Like, so many people speak English now, and when I first got here, practically nobody. I mean, it was very sparingly, which is my fault. You know, I got to speak the language if I'm in their country, but it's changed a lot. It's changed because just in this short amount of time, Ukrainians are allowed to go to Schengen countries, which are basically all Western European countries in the EU, without a visa. Before that time, they needed a visa to go. It was a big process. Then before COVID, there were all these flights that were coming in here. So it was super easy to get to Italy or France or wherever. And so a lot of the young people started traveling, and they'd go and they'd come back excited on their trips and discoveries, and that I think has changed some of the energy in the city also. And that's only been the last 3 years where Ukrainians have been allowed to do that. Continuing with the theme of contrasts, we have these old apartment blocks, a Catholic cathedral, and then to our left, this. new, modern, contemporary architecture. There's a nice restaurant up there, and then a coffee shop down here. A very good coffee shop. It's called One Love. So I was talking about creativity earlier. This is a restaurant that's quite new. Beautiful windows, nice marble floor, tile work.
Hello.
Здравствуйте. You have such a beautiful place.
Thank you.
There's a lot of craft in here.
Thank you.
Look at this staircase, spiral staircase with this pattern in the metal. Very cool floor and this tile work. It's not cheap labor. That takes some time to do. Marble bar. What's up, man? Здравствуйте. Wow, so beautiful, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Ciao. До свидания. Absolutely love this door. And then we have going out into the cathedral in this place called One Love. This is a great place just to come by, grab a book, a lot of good books on art history, and spend an afternoon. Nice desserts, coffees, tea. I think that's the tallest building in Kyiv over there. And yeah, it feels like Southern California, this little zone. Taking a little break, guys. Got to fuel up. Got some cool places to bring us to. Gonna step into a little bit of history and then a beach situation in the city. So my goal isn't just to show you all the rich parts, but it is to show you this does exist. It's quite often the story that's not shown in Ukraine, that there are nice places like this. It's a small rich, small middle, and majority getting by in Ukraine in general. In Kyiv, the capital, in the center, a bit different, as you can see. So this street is known as Khreshchatyk, also known as Turkishatyk. Reason being, there used to be 11 flights a day from Istanbul. And this is the #1 tourist street in the city. Usually busy with people, usually with a scam or two, some musicians, street food. Not my favorite street, but still interesting to scope out. Most tourists end up here for sure. And if you see this architecture here, it's all built in Stalin style. After World War II, this was pretty much rubble. And so it's built from the ground up in the Stalinistic way. This is the center of the city, the Maidan, and where the Revolution of Dignity took place. What is the Netflix special? It's called, I'll leave it in here. I forget the name of it. Really interesting. This is where some of the citizens ran up the hill towards Parliament. Lot happened here, and this just shows you how interesting the world is in the respect that, 5 years ago, super dangerous right here. Now it's like this. The same can be said for other cities, right? Like parts of New York, parts of other American cities in the last few months. You wouldn't want to spend time near the looting. And before that was fine, it will be fine again. But the world is tidal. Conflict happens and it goes. Things change, and not to get caught up on the old information. People still think Ukraine is super dangerous to travel to. The country is technically at war, but unless something changed in the last day or two, not one Ukrainian soldier has been killed in the last month on the front line, which is very far from here, which is very far from the capital. That doesn't discredit the trauma that comes with being in a conflict or anyone that's involved with it, but I just want to drive home the fact that, you know, you've seen it today. It's pretty chill, pretty calm, pretty cool. So we're gonna go up and see some history right now. A really interesting event that happened in this country. It tells a lot about the people here. And then off to a cool beach location in the city. Okay guys, this video got way too long, so I split it into 2 videos. Continue watching in part 2.